Hi, and welcome to the Global Summit on Economic Abuse. I'm Rebecca Glenn, founder of the Centre for Women's Economic Safety. We're an Australian charity focused on economic abuse, and I'm also a co-founder of the International Coalition Against Economic Abuse. This session is part of the In Focus series, which is taking a deep dive into different aspects of responding to economic abuse. If the contents of this session raise any issues for you, we do encourage you to take whatever steps you need to prioritise your own wellbeing. If you'd like to reach out for support, you'll find a link in the chat to the Know More Global Directory, a global directory of specialist domestic abuse and sexual violence services. Now, in this session, I'm delighted to be speaking with Stephanie Feeks, Senior Vulnerable Customer Standards Manager at HSBC UK, about their national awareness raising campaign on financial abuse. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello, Rebecca. Thank you for having me.
So we are talking about financial abuse. Now, it's a subcategory of economic abuse because banks such as yourselves provide money and financial services products. But can I start by asking about motivation? So why did HSBC UK launch an awareness raising campaign on financial abuse?
So for us, financial inclusion and providing people with equal and fair financial opportunities is an absolute priority for us. Customer-centric thinking and building a world of opportunities is part of HSBC's core values. So any opportunity that we can to identify groups of individuals, groups of customers and groups of communities who need that additional support, who don't already have that fair access to banking and have that access to grow their financial health. We absolutely want to be a champion for the UK. We want to lead in this space and we want to provide that opportunity person, whether they're an existing HSBC customer or not. So for us, it's part of our values. It's what me and my team and wider teams within the bank do day in, day out. But for us, HSBC, we were one of the original signatories to the Financial Abuse Code, which was developed by UK Finance in 2018. Following that, there were a further 24 financial service firms that also signed up, and that was representing 29 different brands across the financial sector. The code obviously is extremely valuable and it enables in that it provides principle level guidance to firms on how to support victim survivors of financial abuse in particular. This support could be communication or engagement, supporting customers with awareness and knowledge on what financial abuse looks and feels like. But a really key part is encouraging disclosure. And within that disclosure journey, making sure that it's extremely easy, but also extremely safe to do so for them. For us at HSBC, we were really shocked to hear the research that was carried out by Surviving Economic Abuse, showing that 95% of domestic abuse victim survivors also experience economic abuse, 60% of those being forced into debt completely out of their control. And it was after hearing those harrowing statistics and the stories that our customers have given us and that we've heard over the years, it really inspired us to want to raise more public awareness, publicly being not just within HSBC, but the public being the UK. And within that, we wanted to show victim survivors that HSBC is a place that you can go to help. And when you do, we will do that sensitively, we will do that safely, and we'll do that with the utmost support that we can provide you at that time. So we really saw an opportunity and a space that wasn't really far explored yet by the industry to drive real change. But first, by launching a nationwide campaign of raising awareness was the first step for us.
So tell us about that campaign and who you consulted with to create it and so on.
Have you seen it? It's extremely moving. It's a fantastic campaign. It was national, so it was spread and awareness was targeted to everybody in the UK. But as we've mentioned, the initial idea was to raise awareness and to help people either directly impacted by abuse or to help the public spot signs of abuse in potentially friends, family members, or even their colleagues that they work with. The idea was the creative brief, I suppose, was focused on how money is used to trap people. But we didn't do it alone. This fantastic campaign was all delivered and was all built with the support of our amazing partners and incredible charities that we work with, such as Surviving X, and through Hestia's UK Says No More campaign team. We all collectively came up with the idea of when an abuser controls your finances, they control you. How powerful is that message? And it's really clear and it's easy to understand for everybody. But I'd like you to visualise, and we will show you shortly, but I'd like you to visualise a very busy central space in London, England, a very high footfall, peak daytime, and there's a young lady attached to strings being controlled by an oversized hand, kind of like a puppet, being controlled and being manipulated, which was really our way of presenting a metaphoric representation of what abuse is and how it acts and how it's sometimes impacting people. So the public campaign, the in-person campaign, was as we said, a giant hand, strings tied to each finger, extended out from the billboard, and we hired a performer who was controlled by these strings. She was being pulled and played with, and she was being pulled back and forwards. And as we said, the strings were a mimic of a puppet to dramatise really how a victim will try to escape the grasp of an abuser before being pulled back each time. But why don't we let the ad speak for itself? And if we're ready to, we can play it and show you all the fantastic campaign and what that looked like for the people on the streets of London, seeing it and visualising it in person.
When an abuser controls your finances, they control you. If you need help regaining your financial independence, speak to us, HSBC UK, opening up a world of opportunity.
So, Stephanie, with all of this creative work, what's been the impact? How's it actually landed with people?
Impact's been huge. I think probably slightly more than we expected, which is absolutely amazing. So both adverts triggered a flurry of responses that we didn't expect on such a large scale. We saw that there was around a 1,400% increase in visits to our financial abuse webpage. That is a phenomenal number, I know. And the campaign also drove a 4% increase in consideration for HSBC being their financial service provider because of that protection and that support, and possibly a means of escape. Customers were feeding back that they were happy to see a hidden issue being brought into the mainstream media and being brought into TV adverts and being brought to life. And I think as a result of that, we hope that we've inspired other financial service providers to also raise awareness of this issue.
I love hearing when doing the right thing actually has a business benefit as well. So that's exciting. But obviously, when you have a campaign like this and there's raised awareness, there are survivors who are thinking, now I want to talk to someone. So how could customers then get in touch with HSBC once they'd seen the ad? How did that work?
It's so important that we raise awareness. It's equally as important that we have the means and the ability to receive that support and to receive those requests and to provide that support back to the communities that it's targeted to. So what we did around the campaigns is we ensured that all of our HSBC UK branches, and that's in England and Wales, are all public safe spaces for anyone to use, whether they're a customer or not a customer. They're designed for anyone in need of a safe haven to discreetly reach out to friends or family, contact specialist support services, contact police potentially, whilst they're experiencing any form of abuse, whether that be domestic, physical, financial. Victims who seek that support from us in our branches can use a very private room to make phone calls. They can speak to our trained colleagues. They can contact local police, like we've said, or simply just give them time to collect their thoughts and plan. Our customers can also speak to us in any way that works for them, whether that be over the phone, whether that be live chat or branch, whichever is safest for them or easiest for them to access. But we've also introduced, I'm really proud to say this, we've introduced a dedicated discreet online disclosure form that actually triggers a callback at a safe time for the individual. Within that callback process, if we aren't able to get through, or it's not an appropriate time, we don't continue to attempt callbacks to put that customer or to put that person in the way of harm. We simply ask that another form is raised so that they can provide us with an alternative date and time that's suitable for them. But behind that process, in order to receive those requests and deal with them appropriately, we have specialist trained colleagues within the UK that are enabled through all of our communication channels to respond to those requests. If the customer's not ready to contact us yet, though, and we appreciate these things take time, you have to build your confidence, you have to be ready mentally and physically. We also have a range of online guidance, which include very clear step-by-step actions on how to protect yourself. This could be guidance on how to clear your browser history, how to request a new card if your card's been taken, how to request a new PIN or change your PIN, how to change your address, how to contact charities, how to escalate your concerns or a request for help. So we have all of this available. And again, this is available across the UK and managed internally by our UK colleagues.
Great to hear about that flexibility, which is so necessary because everyone's circumstances can be so different. So that's great to hear about. And then what happens if someone does, through one of these, varied ways, get in touch, say, look, this is happening to me. They're obviously seeking help. They've done that. They've made that connection. What happens after a customer has disclosed?
So again, we've gone through the awareness campaign. We then go through preparing the business to receive the calls in terms of people on the front line. We also then need to prepare the business to make sure that we've got the right means and practical support that we can put in place to help those customers. So again, we've got colleagues in customer facing and non-customer facing roles that receive annual vulnerable customer training. I'm really happy to say that this year, for the first time ever, we've actually used a real economic abuse case. The name obviously has been changed to protect the person, but the idea of using a real case is to guide our colleagues through the reality and the often after effects of abuse and how that abuse can look in your role, again, whether you're customer facing or not customer facing. Previous learning, which has been rolled out again annually to circa 10 to 15,000 colleagues, that's still provided for new joiners, and it's provided to those who work in specialist functions. That includes a very specific module dedicated to the important topic of abuse. So it goes through how to identify abuse, how to respond to those once it's been identified, and then all the practical support that can be put in place for those customers. But in addition to that, we've got over 4,000 of our UK colleagues have very specific specialist abuse training, and this is to increase their confidence, again, to identify and respond to those disclosures, taking them very, very seriously and keeping the customer safety at our absolute foremost and centre of what we do. But we know that training, as valuable as it is, it only goes so far. So like we said, it's really important that while we're doing the campaign, that our processes effectively support our customers, so when they do reach out to help, we can offer that support. So once a disclosure has been made, there are a few things that we can offer in terms of practical support. One, we can separate people's joint accounts and remove additional card holders to prevent any further abuse. Two, we can provide a bank account with a national sort code. That means that a sort code isn't identifiable by location. So if you were to open a bank account in Birmingham, you'll be given a very specific Birmingham sort code. So we have an ability to change that sort code so it can't be located back to an area in the UK or any specific branch, which may give away someone's location. And three, we can reduce someone's ATM withdrawal limit, how much cash they can take out from a cash point. And we can also put auto refer and auto decline lending requests. So if someone has taken over someone's online banking, internet banking, mobile banking, no one is able to process automatic lending requests like overdraft limits, credit card limits, loans, mortgages, and things like that. Fourth, we can appoint a trusted representative to help someone deal with their finances that's escaped an abusive situation. They can do that on their behalf, and we set limits and controls around that if they're not in the right frame of mind to deal with that themselves. 5, we can reset PINs, like we've said, and we can provide new security details, we can change addresses, and we can change methods of communication. 6, we can report concerns to Office of Public Guardian, and we've got very specific guidance for our frontline teams on how to do that. If we suspect that somebody with a certain power that is being abused, such as power of attorney, is then monitored, and action is taken by Public Guardian to remove that power that person has. And finally, the last one, I'm thrilled to share that through our partnership with Surviving Economic Abuse, we are closing down opportunities for abusers to push victim survivors into debt and homelessness. We've just enhanced our support for customers experiencing joint mortgage economic abuse, which is just fantastic. I used to work in the collections and recovery space in secured recoveries, and I saw this more times than I would hope to see in that time within that area. It's very real. It happens a lot, and it's an unbreakable cycle. So really pleased that we've now got official processes in place for that. But we know that there's still more to be done, and we're committed to continue building safer banking for our customers. We'll continue working with our amazing charity partners, and we're going to continue to find new, innovative ways to protect abuse victim survivors from ongoing financial harm.
Fantastic. It's so great to hear, and that the joint mortgage product is such a problem, isn't it? And the numbers that you talk about really struck me, 4,000 specialists. But of course, you are a very large organisation, and with a very large organisation, we know that there are, you don't just have customers, you have employees who may be experiencing economic abuse themselves. What support does the bank provide for employees?
Absolutely. And we believe that our people are equally as important to protect. And the statistics that we talked about at the start and the research, it shows that many of our colleagues that work for HSBC will also unfortunately be in those circumstances, and they may also need support. So there's lots of very clear guidance for first line managers, so that they have the right support, they have the right tools in order to identify those who may be experiencing abuse within their own teams, those who have line manager responsibilities. They provide guidance and learning on how to identify those experiencing abuse, and then the tools and resources that are available with quite a lot of detail on how to support and protect them. With that being said, all of our colleagues across the UK have access to HSBC's support fund to help with essentials and to get back on their feet. We also allow managers to use discretion for additional leave of absence under special leave policies. And it just takes away that complexity and that fear of asking for time off, which we know is a very big fear amongst people. All of our colleagues also have access to something called the Employee Assistance Programme, and this programme includes access to Bupa healthcare, which is a private healthcare here in the UK, and that is both for physical and mental health support. And again, really pleased to share that support has just been significantly extended so that our colleagues can get more access to more support for a longer period of time. And then on top of that, it's all about breaking the silence of abuse by speaking out, and making help and support readily accessible for everyone who needs it. So the awareness campaigns, although targeted to the public, they're also shared internally with our colleagues so that our colleagues can see how else and where else to get support from, whether it's inside of HSBC or with the charities that we work with.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing with us the journey that HSBC UK has been on. Really good example of a financial institution stepping up, saying, yes, we have a role to play here. And to see such creative approaches like, the puppet on a string billboard, the fact that ads were played during such a major event as the FIFA World Cup, just fantastic. And I think what really struck me, knowing that you had to go beyond awareness raising to taking action, seeing that huge rise in people seeking help as a result of the awareness raising, and the fact that there's been this ripple effect of other financial institutions following suit, I'm sure is very validating for you as well. And I love to hear about the safe spaces. I think really important again that, this isn't just for customers. of your bank, you know, that if people need a safe space, then you can use those safe spaces for a whole range of people. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
All up, a very good reminder that tackling economic abuse requires not only public awareness, but also practical and compassionate support, both for customers and employees. So thank you again, Stephanie, for sharing this work with us, and thanks everyone for joining this session.
Welcome. Thank you so much.